The sunset bathes the ruined city in crimson light. Denji and the Devil Hunter rest against a heap of broken swords and scattered demon hunting tools. Silence hangs heavy, broken only by the wind whistling through rusted blades. Denji shifts and utters a soft groan. Hell! The hunter rises, concern etched on her face as she turns toward him. Suddenly, a harsh metallic clang splits the air. A colossal blade hurtles out from the wreckage, spinning wildly before crashing into the ground. The earth shatters under its weight, the blade's impact ringing out sharply. She screams and Denji instinctively clutches his head. They tumble to the ground together, hearts pounding and breaths coming fast, as darkness falls heavier around them. As Denji and the hunter catch their breath, the debris before them stirs once more. They look up to see a lone figure suspended in midair, her posture calm, arms folded beneath a crude metal helmet. Around her, an arsenal of blades, clubs, and strange implements hovers like satellites in orbit. Her voice, cool and detached, cuts through the charged silence. Satisfied? In that moment, Denji's heart skips. The hunter's eyes widen. Neither dares move, as the weapon-laden aura above promises that the fight is far from over. Denji and the hunter strain to watch her, sweat beading on their faces. She remains perfectly still, an eerie calm in her every movement. Then her voice rings out, cold and unflinching. She speaks of fear. As soon as any being becomes self-aware, the terror of falling takes root in its heart. War itself, she declares, is nothing but a human invention. No one could ever truly defeat her. Denji's chest tightens. The hunter's jaw clenches. Neither can hide the anger and resolve in their eyes. With a chilling poise, she notes their intent to intervene. Raising a single gloved finger, she promises them only minor wounds before the storm of blades around her springs to life. Denji hauls the hunter into his arms and bounds to his feet. "Asa Yoru, make a chainsaw motorcycle," he commands, scanning the wreckage for parts. She peers at the shattered ruins. "I need a motorcycle to make a motorcycle," she protests, panic rising as she finds nothing resembling an engine or wheel. Their moment of desperation is shattered by the sudden eruption of weapons hurtling toward them like bullets, swords, spears, and metal shards tearing through the air. Denji's eyes widen as each clang and ricochet sends shards of debris flying. With no time to spare, they brace for impact, adrenaline surging as the storm of blades closes in. The battle has only just begun. Denji hoists the hunter into his arms and bolts down the street as jagged shards of metal scream past them. "Crap! They keep coming!" she gasps, clutching him tight. Spotting a narrow doorway, Denji leaps onto the porch, slams the door open and barrels inside, only to hear a man's furious shout. "You can't just come in here!" They skid across the threshold, rattling pots and pans as they crash into the cluttered hallway. Denji presses himself against the wall, the hunter's breath hot against his neck, as the thunder of blades pounds the door. Outside, the storm of weapons shows no sign of letting up. Inside, they brace for whatever comes next. Inside the cramped kitchen, shrapnel of wood and metal splinters fly as the weapons barrage rips through the wall. The startled homeowner lunges forward, yanking Denji and the hunter aside just in time. Pots and pans clatter to the floor. Denji scrambles up, pressing the hunter behind him as a cluster of blades hurtles past, embedding themselves in the stove and countertop with sickening thuds. Their breaths come in ragged gasps, sweat drips from their foreheads. Even as the homeowner tries to slam the door shut, the relentless onslaught continues. Daggers, saw blades, and makeshift spears carving gashes in the plaster. Denji grips the hunter's arm, eyes wide with panic, while she stares at him in terror, every weapon's glint a promise of danger. There is nowhere to hide now. The kitchen's plaster walls groan and splinter under the relentless hail of blades. Every beam and shelf cracks as swords and saws gouge through wood, sending splinters flying. Denji dives toward the hunter, the startled homeowner scrambling beside them, faces drawn tight with fear. As another shard of metal whistles past his ear, Denji's heart pounds in his throat. The hunter's eyes flick to the widening breach in the wall, sweat tracing rivulets down her temples. Through the cacophony of cracking wood, her voice cuts low and determined. "I'll use my ultimate weapon too." Denji freezes, blood racing. "Two," he gasps, staring at her in disbelief. For a heartbeat, The three of them hold their breath, Denji's chest heaving, the homeowner's knuckles whitening on the table edge, and the hunter's long hair brushing across her resolute expression. Outside the battered door, the storm of weapons pauses, as though waiting to see her next move. Holy Chat GPT. Denji and the hunter drop to their knees amid the debris. The homeowner panting behind them, the storm of blades pauses, leaving an eerie stillness in its wake. The hunter leans forward, her long hair brushing Denji's cheek, and places a gloved hand against his forehead. Denji winces as her touch sends a ripple of warmth through his skull, her focus absolute, eyes locked on his. For a moment, the room is silent but for their ragged breathing. Outside, the broken door trembles with the weight of the suspended assault. Inside, Denji feels her power gathering, an unspoken promise that the next move will turn the tide of this deadly duel. The room seems to tilt as the hunter's composure snaps. She yanks her arm back, dislodging a shard of twisted metal that had burrowed into her sleeve. "No!" she cries out, pain and fear mixing in her voice. She grabs Denji by the shoulders, eyes wide. "Denji! Run away!" she hisses. "Yoru, she wants to turn you into a weapon." Denji's breath catches. He stares at her, confusion and horror flooding his face as he processes what she's saying. Behind them, the homeowner's shout of, "Huh?" echoes in the tense, shattered silence, the question hanging unanswered, as blades scrape ominously at the fractured door. Denji steadies himself, meeting the hunter's eyes with fierce resolve. His chest heaves as he finally speaks. "Go ahead. If it'll lighten my sins a little, I'm okay with it." He holds her gaze, voice low but unwavering. The hush in the battered room grows heavier, each breath amplified in the silence. Then Denji straightens, adrenaline surging through his veins. "Come on, turn me into a badass weapon," he challenges, thrusting his fist forward as if striking an invisible anvil. In that moment, Yoru's hand trembles above his skin. The last remnants of doubt flicker in her eyes before stealing into determination. Outside, the suspended blades hover, waiting for her command, and for Denji, there is no turning back. Denji steadies himself, chest heaving as Yoru's hand hovers over his brow. Her eyes widen, conflict flashing across her face. Then, with sudden conviction, she hisses, "You can't!" Denji's shoulders slump, doubt flickering in his gaze. For a heartbeat, the air crackles between them, his plea hanging unanswered in the battered room. Yoru's fingers tighten against his skin. Though her voice trembles, her resolve is clear. Whatever comes next, she will protect him, even if it means defying his own desperate wish to become a weapon. Outside, the suspended blades begin to shift, sensing the change in command. Inside, Denji realizes that the true battle isn't against the steel. It's for the humanity they both still cling to. ChatGPT.